Life with Louella, written and illustrated by Margaret Hurd. This week's episode, Margaret and Louella's excellent carousel adventure.
"Wow, will you just look at that!"
exclaimed Louella Snuggle Bunny. "I don't believe it," exclaimed Margaret. "The Lindsay Fair actually has a new carousel." "Those horses are as big as the ones in Central Park," gasped Miles Molecule. "They're not horses," said Millie the Millicent. "They're unicorns! Look at those shiny golden horns!" "I get the point," said Miles. Everyone groaned. "That's pretty sharp," added Margaret.
"Well then, quit blowing your own horn," exclaimed Louella. "We gotta check this out."
"That's right," said Millie. "No horsing around." This was definitely the most unusual carousel they had ever seen. Obviously, there were unicorns instead of normal horses. They were barebacked and unbridled, with no trappings or adornments, except for gold chains around their necks, each with its own jeweled golden cross. They moved in a clockwise direction, like English roundabout gallopers, swaying uphill and downhill on a peculiar switchback track. Their manes and tails were every color of the rainbow. The carousel itself had no lights of its own, but the neon lights from elsewhere in the midway caused its entirely mirrored surfaces, from its rounding boards, acid etched in white with the words Barnacle Bernard's Righteous Wild Unicorns, to the bottom of the entrance stairs. The center pole was mirrored, even the floors and ceilings. Instead of lights, mirrored globes hung from the ceiling. The effect was rather like an ominously glittering, surrealistic dark jewel. Stranger still was the fact that no operator or ticket collector was present. Nor was there even a sign saying how many tickets were required. "Well, they can't tell us we're too big for this one," said Margaret, as they waited for the carousel to stop. It never did. It just spun before them, ever so slowly.
"Well, if nobody tries to stop us, we might as well jump on," said Louella.
And they did. These unicorns were big enough to ride double, so Millie and Miles shared one, as Margaret and Louella rode behind them on unicorns of their own. Suddenly the carousel began to pick up speed. "Yee-haw!" Margaret shouted. "Oh, Miles, this is so exciting!" exclaimed Millie as she turned to him and they gave each other a big kiss. Louella sighed and shook her head.
"Just try to keep these two out of trouble."
Faster and faster the carousel whirled, the unicorn swaying up and down over the swirling switchback track.
"Margaret," squealed Louella, "we're going too fast. I think I'm going to be sick."
"I hope I don't fall off," shouted Margaret, wrapping her arms around the unicorn's neck. The whole world surrounding them, as they knew it, disappeared into a swirl of light and color. Margaret and Louella could hardly stand it. They had to close their eyes. "Am I still alive?" asked Margaret, slowly opening her eyes. They were no longer whirling around in circles, but galloping along the desert. The unicorns were no longer wood, but real live unicorns.
"I think so," said Louella. "Where are we?"
"Look, there's a village," replied Margaret.
"We'll ask the people," said Louella.
"Welcome to Gretchtable," said a very official-looking little orange woman with green hair, riding side saddle on a big, beautiful St. Bernard dog. "We are the Grindles. I'm the mayor of this town, Grinnydale Farmface."
"Pleased to meet you, Mayor Farmface," said Louella.
"Just call me Grinny. All my friends do," said the mayor. "You weary travelers must be thirsty. How about some knuckleweed juice?" Grinnydale Farmface handed them 2 large glasses to her servant. "Figglegrum, will you do the honors?" Figglegrum poured a frothy green concoction into the glasses from the barrel around the St. Bernard's neck. This amazed Margaret and Louella, because the barrel appeared not much bigger than either of the 2 glasses, yet there was plenty to fill them both to the rim. "Our prophets told us of 2 mysterious riders who have come here to save our people from the dreaded Uagacha monsters," said Grinnydale Farmface.
"The what?"
"Ooh, I gotcha!" roared a horrible creature who snatched Margaret up in a hideous claw-like hand. He had 1 big eye and 3 big feet, and a huge slobbering mouth, which he was holding Margaret only inches away from. "By Louella," Margaret shouted. It's been nice knowing you.
I seen a trick in a movie once,
said Louella, as she rode her unicorn to the nearest fire hydrant. The unicorn uncapped the hydrant with his horn. Whoosh! A huge jet of water shot through the air. Black! The Louella monster made a terrible retching sound as the jet of water hit him. As he melted quickly, he dropped Margaret to the ground. Pretty soon there was nothing left of him but a puddle of slimy, gooey green slime, which was rapidly decreasing in size. Before the puddle had a chance to disappear, the two unicorns dipped their horns into the slime. With luminescent beams of radiant golden light, all the victims who had previously been eaten by the Louella monster were miraculously restored and brought back to life. It was a happy and emotional time, as friends and family members were joyously reunited. Husbands and wives, parents and children, brothers, sisters, boyfriends, and girlfriends. The Grindles rejoiced and cheered. According to tradition, we're supposed to present you with these. Grinnydale Farmface removed the gold chains with the crosses from the unicorns' necks and presented them to Margaret and Louella. "Thank you for saving our village," shouted the people. Margaret and Louella got back onto their unicorns, who began galloping in their dizzying circle until the village and desert and landscape whirled back into the color and light of the carousel. Margaret and Louella were back riding the carousel. However, something was different.
"Where did that camel come from?"
gasped Louella. "It's a long story," replied Millie.